How we sit on a motorcycle can make dramatic changes to how the bike behaves. So stick around because we're going to be talking about how to have great cornering posture for the street and the track. Hi, I'm Dave with CanyonChasers.net. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, posture. How we sit on a motorcycle can really enhance how we interact with that motorcycle. And don't worry, the fundamentals of what we're going to be talking about today work no matter what kind of bike you're on, from a cruiser to a tour bike to a scooter. But first, a key point. The more a motorcycle leans, the more traction is being used for cornering. So one of the great things we can do with our bodies is use our weight to reduce how much that bike is leaning, thereby reducing risk. Why do racers hang so far off the bike? Well, the reason you hear most often is so that they can reduce lean angle and go faster. But there is another reason that is rarely brought up. One of the key reasons why professional riders sit on the motorcycle the way they do is not only to reduce lean angle, but to also enhance how well they can see through a corner. And we would argue that for us mere mortals, enhancing our visibility through a corner is more important than reducing lean angle. For the street or for the track, for a cruiser or a superbike, the fundamentals are effectively the same. But on the street, we travel at lower speeds, and since we don't necessarily want to draw undue attention to ourselves on a Sunday street ride, street posture is less extreme. But since most of us start riding on the street before we go to the track, we're going to cover street posture first, because correct street posture will translate directly to correct track posture. So how do we make this happen? Well, you've most likely heard or you had your buddy tell you that you need to get your butt out of the seat. And that's true to a point. The problem with this advice is that it focuses our attention on the wrong part of the body. And if it's done incorrectly, it can actually compromise how well we can see through the corner. Let me explain. If one of the key things we're trying to do with posture is to enhance our ability to see through a corner, then we want to think with our chest and shoulders. Slightly rotating our shoulders or pointing our zipper through the corner can really enhance our ability to see where we're going. Now, if we go back to the butt and we just slide our butt off the seat like a lot of riders tend to do, it actually takes our shoulders and points them away from where we're trying to go. It actually makes it harder for us to look through the turn. And then finally, our bum is actually really close to center mass on the motorcycle. Where we put our bum actually has very little impact on reducing lean angle of the motorcycle compared to where we put our head and our shoulders. The average human head weighs about 5 kilos. The average motorcycle helmet weighs just under 2 kilos. So let's use a 4-kilo bowling ball as an illustration with the basic understanding that your head and helmet weighs just a bit less than double what our bowling ball weighs. Everyone, meet William.
Look at the size of that boy's head.
When we hold William close to our center mass, he doesn't have much of an effect. He's pretty easy to manage.
I'm not kidding, it's like an orange on a toothpick.
But if we hold William out and away, the farther away he gets from center of mass, the harder he is to manage and the bigger impact he actually has.
Gonna give the boy a complex. Well, that's a huge noggin.
How that relates to our posture is that while yes, where we put our bum on the motorcycle does make a difference, where we put our head and chest and shoulders makes a far bigger difference relative to the rest of the motorcycle.
William, move your head.
When we see riders that are focused on where their butt is, they'll slide their butt out of the seat, but in order to stay connected to the bike, they'll tend to hold onto the handlebars tighter, which causes their head and chest to stay on top of the bike, twisted away from the direction of travel. Most will even start counterweighting the bike, which causes the bike to actually lean more. That's a lot of work for a negative impact. We want to reduce lean angle as well as enhance our ability to see through the corner. So if we focus on where we place our head and chest, less effort will result in more gains.
Head, move!
For street riding, it's unnecessary to hang way off the bike, but little adjustments can make a big difference. So when you're riding along, start by sliding back in the seat to leave a little bit of room between your pelvis and the gas tank. Slide your inside foot back so that the ball of your foot is on the foot peg, or imagine you're holding onto the foot peg with your toes. Slide your outside foot forward until the heel of your boot catches on the peg. This helps rotate our hips towards or into the turn. It also connects our outside leg to the bike, making it easier to hang on with our legs. Also, our inside foot is less likely to drag, and we can put more weight on that inside foot peg to help the bike turn. Now, simply put all of your weight on your inside sit bone. The easiest way to get all of our weight on that inside sit bone is to lean our head and chest to the inside of the bike. Plus, if we've allowed our hips to rotate, it makes it much easier to point the zipper through the corner, enhancing our visibility through the turn. How much you move your upper body depends on how much you want to reduce lean angle and how much you want to enhance your visibility. A lot of this depends on your speed and the radius of the corner. The quicker you're going, the more you should be moving your body. So if you need to move more, drop your inside shoulder, straighten your outside arm, open your chest to the corner, and lean towards where you want to go. Remember to keep your head and eyes up. You are going to be leaning, so you'll need to look up even more to keep your eyes up and out. Because we are focused on our head and chest, even a little bit of movement can make a big improvement to not only reduce lean angle, but also enhance our ability to see through the corner. You can get a sense if you're doing this correctly if you start to see chicken strips on your tire again. But don't think of these as chicken strips so much as your margin for error, because remember, the objective here is to reduce the bike's lean angle. It's the exact same technique as the street, only we need to do more of it. Because we're going really fast, we need to really get off the bike to really reduce lean angle. Again, slide back in the seat to make room, but you may need to slide back more than you do on the street. Slide your inside foot back, toes on the peg, and your outside foot goes forward. You'll notice that your knee really gets locked into those scallops on the tank, really enhancing your security on the bike. There's a lot of ways to think about what needs to happen next. We're going to mention the ones that we found seem to help riders the most. Make that upper or outer arm a straight line. Drape your upper outer arm across the tank. Make a straight line through the lower clip-on to your elbow. Point your inside elbow at the ground. Put your chin above your wrist. Kiss your inside mirror or where it would be. Put your upper ribs on the lower side of the gas tank. Find one of these that works for you, one that helps you find a physical reference that you can return to and be consistent. Now you're likely going to notice that in order to do this, your bum has to be moving around in the seat. If you're doing it correctly, you're going to find one cheek out of the seat and one cheek still in the seat. We still want to avoid taking our entire butt out of the seat because that disconnects us from the motorcycle. And we still want to maintain that connection, particularly if we encounter a bump mid-corner. You'll also notice that your inside leg, your knee, has come out and away from the bike to help support the weight of your upper body and is now in the correct position to potentially drag your knee. But what about your hands? Instead of holding onto the inside grip like this, hold on to it like this, the way you would turn a doorknob. All you have to do is rotate your wrist. Less effort and more precision. Plus, with all that weight on your inside leg and your outside leg locked into the tank, it should be a lot easier to be light on your hands. Try to let go with your hands and maintain the same position. This helps us stay light on the controls. Still holding on too tight? Think about engaging your core or pressing down on the foot pegs with your feet. If you do it right, you should notice the weight on your arms and hands just melting away. In either case, for the street or the track, we want to keep our spine straight, not twisted or curved. If you're struggling keeping your spine straight, you probably just need to slide back in the seat a little further to make more room. If you're doing everything right, when you get those Trackday photographs, you're going to feel just like Valentino Rossi or Andrea Dovizioso or Jorge Lorenzo. Look at that outside foot. Their spine is straight, leading with their head. Small changes can make a big difference. Good posture will help you stay light on the controls, help you see better through a corner, help the motorcycle change direction, and help reduce lean angle, all of which works to reduce risk. For me personally, I really enjoy working on posture, and it's something I find myself playing with almost every time I ride my motorcycle. We've added a link in the description to some great resources, including sport riding techniques. This wonderful resource covers these tips and many others in great detail. We've also provided links to some credible riding schools where you can work on these skills with a qualified riding coach. If you have anything you'd like to add or you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment below. We read every comment and try to respond to as many as we can. Be sure to click like and subscribe and click on that little bell if you'd like to be notified whenever we upload a new video. Be sure to check out canchasers.net or our YouTube channel for more great content. Thanks so much for watching and ride well.